So, welcome back, everyone. Um, Even though it has not been such a long time, I hope every group had gone through interesting discussions and get able to know each other a little bit more. Now, in this opportunity, we'll be exchanging those insights through the presentation session. So, in this session, each group will deliver a presentation for 10 minutes, and then there will be a review session from the next group for 5 minutes, give or take. So first, I would like to invite group three to present, and group two will be the reviewer. So for the representative of group three, you can tell us your thoughts for the previous presentation after they finish. So for group three, the time is yours, please.
Okay, wait a minute, Matthew.
No, no, yeah, please.
Can you see clearly?
Yes, we can all see it clearly. Can anyone else see clearly?
Yes. Yes, we can.
Okay, maybe we can start.
Okay,
If
yeah. So, hello, good evening, everyone. I hope your spirit will go down. So, after a long journey in thinking that Cangkruan can be accommodated with kind of design and how, it is because Cangkru cannot be separated from a phenomenon and to trigger the needs for individuals as well as a society to interact. Surely, the whole world needs it, right? So, no need to wait for a long time. We are proud to present in the Cangkru from the group 3. Next.
okay, now we start from the site that we choose. The site that we choose for our little project, our workshop, is located in center of Surabaya, near the Taman Apsari, which is a park that has many stories and history, especially about art. There are a lot of activities going around the park, more specifically at nighttime. So, from the picture, we can see the site is next to the Taman Apsari, which is the quite popular public park in Surabaya. And maybe Haidian can continue explaining more specific.
Oh yes, to continue what my friend Ashley is discussing. So in this area, there are some social activities such as Cangkruan, and then people can usually go to the park in the green color. If you can see the picture on the bottom left, the green one is a park, and the turquoise color is our site. And there are also sidewalks along the street, so pedestrians are accommodated to walk in around their area. For the circulation, the site is not located in the big main road, so the activities and the social activities on the street and around the street will not disturb the main activities and disturb the traffic. No. And last but not least, the surrounding of the site. The site are surrounded by restaurants, cafes, and the park of Taman Apsari, and it's also near Tujuan Plaza. It's one of the biggest mall in Surabaya, and there are also some cultural heritage tourism buildings around the site as well. Next.
Okay, so actually in this near our site, there are many social activities around Apsari Park, especially the Cangkruan activities. Many people come to the park to hang out and to in the restaurants near in our area. And the nightlife in this area is also pretty spectacular because there are some few of the skyscraper and usually they have many small markets on the weekend.
There is festivals, curfew days on the weekends. The flower parade are held in this area of Surabaya. That makes this area really crowded and a lot of pedestrians spending their time here. To recall that Indonesian love to junk food, we want to create a space that accommodate this activity, this Cangkruan activity. Next.
So talking about the structural aspects of our intervention that you can see on the top left, we have modules of 1 by 1 by 1 meter that create an intervention that is a total of 2 by 6 meters on ground. The structure is realized with the help of steel scaffolding. So it has lightweight and sturdy tubular steel sections that allow for plenty of space for the addition of a range of programs. The local community can customize it and make it their own by adorning it with elements like colorful signage and large canvases with paintings hanging from them. We envision the structure to have seating space in the front, while the back can serve as a market space. A play of levels allow the user to engage with the intervention and be seated as they wish. Thus, we are able to personalize a lively night market scene for the locals.
The basic core essence of Shangkruk is precisely in the discussion or dialogue that from throughout the process of exchanging information and other activities from diversity of people in the community. The flexible of installation structure can be used in many kinds of activity that can decide by and the upper floor bring the perspective view of surrounded activity to the context. Next.
And the hangout in the modern era, the term hangout refers to a Kankruk style cafe. In Indonesia, cafes springs up like mushrooms in major towns during the rainy season, becoming a gathering spot for family and friends. Visitors must dig deeper and delve into their pockets than Kankruk in a regular coffee shop to be able to hang out in a cafe like this. The concept of Kankruk is inextricably linked to the idea of our society culture. The next one. And the culture, they always discuss a wide range of topics, from current events in public and the lifestyle to contents about the other people's privacy. Kankruk can be used for a variety of things because it has a wide
That is for the presentation of Group 3. Thank you for listening.
All right, thank you very much for Group 3. Now, I would like to invite Group 2 to add one or two comments about the presentation that you just heard from Group 3. Or Group 2, the time is yours.
Yeah, can I go?
Of course.
Yeah, I hope I'm audible. So I really like the structure and the flexibility that was, I think, the core of the design. And I think that entire structure and the flexibility is not suggestive of any one purpose. So I think people can appropriate it and people can use it in varied manner. And I think this flexibility allows for it will allow for a lot of encounters and exchange of ideas and engagements in a variety of manner. So I really like the flexibility component of this design.
Just one observation here from my side. So looking at the module that it has, it felt there are more spaces for individuals to sit, to think, to work, or to relax, and less of activity, maybe because it was shown that way, less of gathering of 3 or 4 people. So it was, say, maybe for a smaller group of 1 or 2 to be at peace or to quietly discuss something, and less for a larger gathering, maybe because of its size or the module that it has.
Okay. Yes, thank you very much for the explanation.
Right, so now we are going to hear from Group 2, and Group 1 will be the reviewer. So Group 2, the time is yours.
I will just explain the introductory slide and then I will hand over it to the group. So, streets determine the spatial characteristics of a city, and thus they are called as the pulse of the city. However, the local street culture is increasingly threatened by the influence of globalization in the newer development areas of Pune. So we decided to take a site on the new part of the city, which is Bavdhan, where streets are there, but not for the people, and they are only used by the motor vehicles. So we came up with the tagline of reimagining our streets as places from traffic routes to community routes. So, designed for an urban street space that will encourage street life, a space with sun and a shade, space to shop and sell, a space for self and society. So, the design could be anything from shop front, street furniture, or even a pavement pattern, permanent or temporary structures, or anything which can make it more vibrant. So on our left bottom, we can see the site, and the black portion is where the footpath is. So, and from the initial discussion, there were some taglines from all our group members. So we came up as taglines as space zoning and flexible module, essence of life as street spaces, fluidity of street character as a connector for the people communication and activities, for the public communication and activities, sorry for that, creating the site into an interest checkpoint. So we can move on to the next slide. We also showed them some photos of the site. So these are the photos where we can see that there is a footpath and there is a clear lane, the road which goes, but it's not used by the people, and it's merely used for just for parking. And even they park their two-wheelers on the footpath. We can very well see that. So these are the photos which we gave to them. Now I may hand over the designing part to the group members.
Yes, Due, over to you. Is he there? Okay,
Maybe he is not.
I suppose so what you guys can see is there are 5 different proposals. So we really were not keen on combining them all and giving one proposal, because we are dealing with a street which is a linear space and it is a bigger stretch. So each one of the students have picked up a special site in wherein they have come up with these ideas. So I think Do was working with certain modular units of furniture, which could be rearranged by the people themselves for different daily activities. So this was one of the proposals. Next one.
Yes, this is my idea that I call it Essence of Life and Street as a Street Spaces. That departing from the concept of the site that and the problem of before that vehicles that use more space than human being, that it should be to reverse the paradigm. So trying to change the perspective that roads are part of human life, not just a place for vehicles or just stop vehicles. And the concept is trying to unite 3 zones: the people's nature and spiritual context and interaction space. The form one is uh, interaction space and playable area with geometric formation with the walls that perforated the walls into communication media and interaction. And in the pedestrian itself, the connection are one linear and become part of the public space when the event becomes part of the public space for celebrating activities. For the contemplate space itself, as represent the spirituality of space, there is a theater, and when not in use in can be a place for street vendors. Maybe next.
Fu.
And from the site analyzing, 2 main issue I think is from a large scale is the road is between urban and rural, and so it is a place like a rest stop, and so the place is for the site is for to stay and rest and have some activities. And the second issue is from the small scale is the pavement between the vehicles road and the passengers road are not really clear divided. So from the two issue, I try to design a pavement thinking and equipment and furniture thinking. And most of the furniture will be on the red part in the middle diagram because the side houses aside the red part is like inside is a dramatic space. So outside on the road it is the stable furniture using. And the first furniture is the exercising equipment. It can also be rely on the furniture for some humans and staying and chatting. And the second is a climbing and sitting furniture. And climbing is maybe for younger people and sitting for the elderly. And the movable seat is stable and in from some ceremony or activities, the seat can be moved to different spaces. And from all along the road, the tree will be researched, and so some kind of furniture, the seat will be around the tree, and the other is a long bench, and down the diagram is the pavement thinking. The first pavement thinking is making a height difference from the road for vehicle and passenger, and the second is putting the protrusion between them. Next.
Okay, my design option is based on the gathering activities and communications of the man in the street. I think there are two kinds of space I try to establish. One of them is the small center for rest. I think it's more likely for the public activities like reading, chatting, and so that I first of all gather them in this place and break the wall and to play some activities in it to make them communicate with each other easier. Is the second pictures on the PowerPoint. The structure of them refers to the traditional materials of home of India. Is made of timber and bricks. Timbers is for the beams and walls, and the bricks are the walls with posts. I think it can make the link from the past to the future by this way. And another part of the space is the linking streets. I think it is more likely for the temporary rest or traffic. So I place some small furniture there for the group discussing or gathering. Is the first picture on the PowerPoint. So that is my options. Yes.
So my idea is to create the site into an interesting checkpoint. So in order to create a checkpoint on the site, it's required to have their own characteristic for the street. The recreational activity is one of the elements that we should consider, and can be used to create space in different shape. As we can see that there are a hill nearby the site, which people usually go up there for exercising. We can also see that there are many coffee and shops on the site, so it can be a checkpoint before and after going to the hill. So my scenario at 3 in the morning is people can use the furniture along the site. The pavement for gathering and having an informal conversation and have some coffee or snacks after they have finished their exercise on the hill. So there are also tree planting along the side of the pavement to create shading for people to relax to relax, especially in the afternoon, as it have a very high temperature. So In the evening, we can use the space for food store, shopping, or people who finish their work can come to the site to gather with friends and enjoy the evening. And the space can also be used for any important event and traditional event too. To conclude, it is important to have checkpoints to attract more people together in the site and improve its fames. That's all.
Yeah, thank you.
Right, thank you very much, Group 2, for the wonderful presentation. Here we can see each member has presented their ideas. So now it's time for Group 1 to give a review. Anyone from Group 1?
Yes. Now I will show our screen.
Oh, yeah. You may share your screen?
Yeah.
Oh, no, not yet. Not it's not yet the time for you to present, but we would like to ask your review for Group 2's presentation.
Oh, what?
Review.
We need to
comment. Yeah. Do you have any comments or thoughts on Group 2's presentation?
We think the street between some facilities they designed choose very flexible for some people. It's very good, and so yeah, I think they did a good job, I think.
Okay, thank you very much, Yang Ling. Is there anyone from Group 1 who want to give comments or thoughts on Group 2 presentation? Or it could be from other participants too. Are there anyone who wants to give comments on Group 2 presentation? Okay, looks like Group 2 has done very well. Now we are moving to Group 1's turn to present. So the Group 3 will be the reviewer. To Group 1, the time is yours.
Hello, everybody. We choose a traditional courtyard to design. It is surrounded by 4 houses with a main courtyard in the middle. There are 8 families and 12 people living in the site. Therefore, the living quality of the old house is poor and the space is crowded. We have widened the public space in 2 ways. Move the way back and add a second floor, or use a movable wall. Let's invite Angel to introduce our design.
Okay, for the first idea is that first we choose an existing building, which there are 2 units of residence, as you can see on the left. Both residents share common functions such as kitchen and open space. And one of the problem on the site is that there are not enough communal space for people to interact with each other. So we thought that we could create a bigger common space that could accommodate bigger crowd and various activity. And to keep the interior space as it is, we decided to change the permanent wall into a movable one so that it can be more flexible to accommodate more various functions such as tea party or as one of the Chinese tradition, or even a playing area for the children. Next. So the different position of the partition can create different activities and accommodate different number of people. So the first scenario is that the room is divided into 3, which are the living room, dining room, and kitchen, also the courtyard. So the courtyard is can be used for hanging the sunrays or for the children to play. This scenario creates the least social interaction. And the second and the third scenario is a little bit similar, where the kitchen and the open space are joined to create a bigger interior space for the residents to do a gathering, either eating together or sitting together in a living room. And the fourth scenario is to extend the dining room to the outside so that it would have connection to the existing tree and open space. So the living room is also extended to the courtyard, giving it a bigger common space and connect them to the yard that can be used for the children to play. And the fifth scenario leaves all the communal activities on the living room and the yard. With the flexible space, we hope to encourage the residents to interact with each other and so that the tradition such as the tea party did not extinct. Next.
Yes, so considering the heritage background of the place, the concept was to activate spaces at an intimate experiential level, as well as to provide tools to help mobilize occupational activity at a larger scale. So, one of the broader suggestions is to preserve the heritage fabric of the house and extend the same with similar materiality to create, say, like homestays for tourists that generates possibilities of sustenance. But overall, there is a lack of open space in the area. So the main strategy employed for creation of more active courtyard spaces is introduction of a setback while retaining the original column grid, which enables creation of stepped seating while making the courtyard bigger. This space then further acts as a socializing space that transitions subtly from the courtyard to the center of the house. So as you can see in the section, there is a second floor that is added and a continuous axis gets formed on the ground plane, ranging from the private hall to the veranda like playful seating to the space that acts as a tea drinking space. The smaller movements get created in the form of the step seating that thus transitions from the hall, the seating under the shade of the tree, and as well as the parking space. All these smaller interventions inform each other while maintaining the informality of the space. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for Group 1 for the wonderful presentation. So now I would like to invite representatives from Group 3 to give a brief comment about the presentation, please.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
and
want to comment about the presentation of Group 1. I actually loved it personally because the main idea is to maximize space in a small space, like you know what I'm saying. So yeah, I like the idea by using I don't know, check like moving wall like that. I really like the idea, especially the stair, because you create a stair that gonna be a watchtower, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I love the idea. It's a good project. Great job.
anyone from Group 3 would like to add something from Adam's review?
I like the idea of making many iterations of the plan so you can sort of figure out the layer and degree of privacy and intimacy you want. Perhaps on days that you want more of it to be more of a community space, you make it a little less private in some sense. So the sliding partitions idea was great.
Thank you very much for Abika. So anyone else would like to add something? Probably not. So thank you very much for Group 3's review. And now back to you, Felicia.
Yes, many thanks to all the groups who have presented their work and also to representatives from each group for the wonderful comments. And now, after listening to the presentations, we are going to hear some general reviews from the tutors. First, I will invite Professor Xue Yongkao, Professor of Architecture at the School of Architecture Southeast University of China. Professor Xue Yongkao.
Yes, good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
I feel very sorry because I'm at the railway station and there's a very poor Wi-Fi here, so I'm using my cell phone and I couldn't use the assigned background. I apologize for that. actually, I'm very impressed for these three groups. They have managed to cooperate in such a short time and produce such a fantastic work. I want to congratulate on these three groups. I think these three topics are very interesting, and I think they tackle some difficult questions which are share some commonalities, but they are also very different. Particularly the top group one, which focuses on the traditional living quarters and how to bring that into our contemporary life, which is very difficult because it's very crowded and people are still living inside. And now you want to create more um, common space. I would rather call that common space instead of public space. And I think they found a very bright way, brilliant way. In the traditional Chinese housing, it's always load-bearing walls. Although we have a timber framework, that load-bearing wall now is changed to be kind of screen so that it's movable and flexible. So in that way, it accommodates or it fulfills both the interior, also the exterior. And I think it enhances the communication between the inside, the family life, also outside, I mean, the courtyard, which is shared by different families. And I think they have done kind of architectural design, including almost structural design, also layout of the furnitures, also the creation and improvement of the courtyard. They also have a very fancy or fascinating element that spiral stairway is almost like an observer watchtower. I think it's bright, very bright in the almost doomy the traditional neighborhood. I think it really enlivens that area. And compared with this group, I think the other two groups that they have more about the open space, how to improve that. They talk about the transportation, the streets, also the park. And I think what I'm really impressed, I think they emphasized the cultural life of different countries or different civilizations. And I understand that kind of culture is not something we can possess or we possess, but something that we are still in that culture and we are regenerating that culture. In other words, I think we have a kind of shift from aesthetic concern to performative, to performance, also from single function to that kind of mediation between different elements, between inside and outside, from general to some specific thinking, and I would say, from a single object to that kind of legible engagement between that object and its surroundings. Either that could be a neighborhood or the city or the street. I think they developed in different directions, and they answered or responded to the same question: how we may bring our past to the future. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
So thank you very much for Professor Xi Yonggao for such an insightful review. It's interesting how you managed to highlight the possibilities of having history and culture with having the modernity and the style of the new age.
Yes.
So thank you very much. And
Thank
next,
you.
we will hear from Ms. Arti Chandrasekhar and Ms. Yashasi Lambe Aurangabadkar from India. So the time is yours, please.
Okay.
Okay. We didn't know that we were to go again. So
Oh,
this is where we had given our comments before.
right. Maybe a
As
general review for all of the
um,
teams. Yeah.
yeah, especially regarding the group three, like we said, where they had a park setting and where they had designed one module and how they had placed it all together. So I think that flexibility and the amount of detailing that they had done right till its structural system and the material. So yeah, I really like that part of it.
Um, as one observation that I have is, though all of us are from different countries in Asia, but there are certain common points that we can observe. So though we have different cultures, but there are certain aspects which helped us in the workshop. Like when we were working with our selected site with the students, it was maybe difficult for each one to understand the culture for the place, culture of the place for which they were designing. But maybe because there are certain common needs and common generators to which every human being responds. It can be food, it can be a need for a shade, it can be a shopping. So there are certain common points to which each human is going to respond, and that's what helped us in the workshop. So it is also a learning. So maybe some part of our festivals or religions may differ, but certain human needs, if we understand, we can design for most of the needs of any person in the public space, and it will be suitable if we understand what really is required by a human being. Also, another thing is for the group one, it is also interesting to note that courtyard, which is that way a very personal space of a house, can also be looked at as a common space for multiple residents and from multiple families, and not necessarily to be looked at in current situation where the space is so limited, the open space is so limited. It need not be seen as a very personal and private space and can still be shared. So that is all from my side.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Arti and Ms. Yasasri for the comments. And up next, we will have Ms. Alte Rosi Asri and Ms. Alvina Wijaya from Petra Christian University, Indonesia, to give comment.
Yeah, thank you, Felicia. First and foremost, I will um, I will express my amazement for all the groups because all of you have done magnificent work. Try to grasp the history, the story behind every site. And I see here we are working with different characters of sites. We have three different countries. We have three different character of sites, and they are all interesting. And I know the challenge for the host students from India and China and Indonesia is how they share the story of their own site, the site that they have chosen. And I think everybody has done a good job in telling the story to all the group members, so that I saw group one and group two each have different second scenario, and it is interesting. It's as if everybody has their own interpretation of the heritage, the past of every site. And it is interesting because then everybody has their own take on the interpretation of the space. And we are dealing with like the site from China is more like a private site, and then the site for the India project is more like a public space, but it's linear. It's a street with all kind of festival happen, and then the site for Indonesia, they choose a more static site that is in just like a pocket in a heritage site. And I think everybody has already have their interesting take. I have this notes that I found interesting in group 1 and in group 2, because in group 1, what I found interesting is there was a trace of history in the settlement area where I thought one of the concept is like make the courtyard more active, or have a more active role in the site. And it's like, it's great because courtyard is something very important in the Chinese architecture settlement, as it is a public space. And the case that the student from the Chinese group they raised the question of how do you make several house. I think it was one house that have one courtyard, and then as the time goes by, it becomes several house, and then you want to activate how do you make the one courtyard as a place, a public space for many family. And it is very interesting. And then you have many scenario how to use that. And because you all have your own interpretation of private and public. And the site chosen, sorry?
Nancy?
Someone speak? No? Okay. So, and I think for the site for India, you all have a great take on the essence of life of the street in India, where it can be a place for a sacred events and a place for everyday events, and you all have your own interpretation. The student have their own interpretation. It is right. It is great because it's like you have a brainstorming of ideas, and by doing that, you express your own interpretation, your own solution, and then I think you have a great discussion in your group. And while in the Indonesian group, I know they are trying to make one solution with very hard discussion in this virtual room. So that's interesting. So I hope we can all learn from this experience. Thank you.
Okay, my turn. So I wanna just summarize the first and second and the third presentation. Let me read my note. Keeping the soul from the past alive is challenging these days, facing more individual way of life and issues such as the shortage of space, etc. And this workshop, I see it is an attempt to solve this issue. Like it is like the smallest seeds of design thinking with empathy that is applicable. And we can also share and learn from another parts of the world with their own condition and issue. I want to appreciate how in schedule we can work together and accommodating ideas from all of the members, like such in the second group, they accommodate all of the ideas. And I feel very fortunate to be able to join this workshop. Thank you.
So thank you very much for the comments for Ms. Aldriosha and Ms. Albina, to show that even though we're from very different nationalities altogether, but we still have a common red line, a common point in which we can both relate and both try to understand one another in a very holistic kind of way. So thank you very much for the comments. So now I would like to invite Dr. Lee Yong Il for a comment yourself. So for Dr. Lee Yong Il, the time is yours.
Okay. Today is Teachers' Day in Vietnam. Now I'm in Vietnam. So how about in your country? Do you have also the Teachers' Day in Indonesia and China and India?
It's May in Indonesia. So
21st
of May.
Oh, okay.
21st
So,
of May.
I'd like to say to all the teachers in Asia, congratulations. And today's workshop, there were wonderful presentations from 3 universities in 3 countries. The first group from Indonesia, a community called Cangkurukan, remains in the whole society and has become an indispensable part of Indonesian life. You cannot live without a Cangkurukan, yeah? So it is both a cultural activity and a bond that connects Indonesia. So information that is really important in a highly information-oriented society can be obtained by using the 5 senses, looking at each other's face. In that sense, Cangkurukan is gradually evolving to create a place for information exchange in modern society. But Cangkurukan may be just an internet cafe or like somebody light some place. So how to prevent it seems to be an issue. I think it is the role of the architect to propose it as a space for architecture, preserving the cultural and social characteristic of Cangkurukan. And the second, the group from China, took up the Hohuatang district as a cultural heritage in Nanjing and give a presentation on the interpretation of the tradition. Looking at the many photos, a very wonderful architectural culture remains, and the focus is on how to connect this to the present age. The solution to these problems have been made attempted all over the world. It is desirable not to preserve it as the museum, but to conserve it what people actually live in. The architect should come up with a plan for how to conserve it. In Chinese characters, it can be distinguished as a preservation is a Baochun, and the conservation is a Baoquan. So I think is the Baoquan, the conservation is better than the preservation, the Baoquan. And the third, the Indian the group from India took up streets or the shops in Pune and introduced the religious, economic, cultural, and historically layered social activity. I visited Pune 2 times, and so I know something about what happened in Pune. And so, as your member said, the complexity of this event, since size is better space physically, culturally, and socially than most modern designed spaces. Yeah, it's true. the modern space is a very, the simple and very light, very physical. In other words, the space and the activities performed there are layered, creating complexity and diversity. The challenge as an architect is how to create such a multi-layered traditional space in a modern architectural space. So from the today's presentations of three universities, we knew that Asia is characterized by the culture of the street rather than the culture of the square. Is it right? How about in China? Do we have a culture of square?
Culture what?
Culture of the square, the plaza, like a European country.
Not really. Culture of street.
Okay. How about Indonesia?
Culture.
Culture of street.
I think culture of the street. We are outdoor people.
Yeah, most of our activities is on the street.
Yeah, because
that's
it's
a commonality
hot.
of Asian people.
How about India?
For India, any public space, whether it's a street, chalk, train, anything can become a public gathering space. So if you take an example of Bombay, there are fixed people who took a certain train to go to the office and to come back from the office. And they know that every day they are going to meet same people in the same train. So they sit together, they peel onion, they chop vegetables, they sing a song, and they know that every day they are going to do this and chat over it. So for us, every space where we are, because it's a public space for us. So whether it's any mode of, whether it's a road, train, wherever we meet people, and if there is some generator, let's say now that we have to spend time in train, or there is a tea stall that 5 of us like, can become a generator and it can become a place of social gathering. So yes, it happens in India.
Okay. So we have a same culture about the street. So I think the result of a workshop, today's workshop, was that I was able to understand the problem and the possibilities of Asian culture. And today's your collaborative suggestion are the one answer of them and the possibility to solve the problem. So we had a one-day design of creating space with workshop member and the contestants who will participate in the open jury tomorrow. So I think you all came up with great ideas as a future architects. So if you have a chance, as I would like to organize a more collaboration like this. Okay, thanks everyone. Good job today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for the words and the encouragement, Dr. Liang Il. And now I will invite Mr. Bram Wayne to give us some closing statements.
Okay, thank you. First of all, I would like to thank the 3 groups that's already presented today. It was so amazing that I think what we learned today is different places, different country, different communities needs their own different solutions. And from what you are presenting, I already get the 3 big pictures of how it can solve our problems and linking it from past to the future. The first of all is about the modular and flexible design, that it can be used and it can be arranged by the event and by the community itself. I think it was so interesting. And the flexibility is kind of the thing that most of us is needed nowadays. And then the second one is about the checkpoints. And I think it's a mind-blowing experience that you are digging in there, that if you're not using one side for a design, but you're using the overall of the side, that, oh, we need a sequence, we need to see the continuity of the activities. from one end to the another. So I think the checkpoint is quite mind-blowing idea. And then the last is about the permeable or movable area, that we seek that the space is limited, but the activities must not be limited by the space itself. So the space can be transformed into the activities that they need. And with that, we can see that there is a lot of possibilities. There is a lot of design alternative that we can seek in one problems, in one place, in one communities. And I think that's what workshop is should be, that we open up our mind, we open up others' mind, that, oh, you can use this alternative design to solve this kind of problem, and you can use the other design to solve another problem. And then for this team, Linking Past to the Future, we are trying to learn and about the value of the past, to linking the past for the future, for our next generation ahead. And I think that was quite of experience that we given in this time of, in the short of this time. And maybe that's all for me. And with this, I'm the head of the workshop. I'm Wayne. I'm officially close this workshop. Thank you very much. Thank you for your participation. Have a good rest and good luck for tomorrow for the contestant participant. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations, everyone.
Thank you.
Take
Are we
pictures.
not going to take pictures?
Soon, Miss
Oh, yeah.
Ashe, soon we will have a group picture together.
Because he's already said goodbye.
Don't go just yet, everyone. It's still a little bit more to go. We can take a picture after this. So I would just like to know about the presentations, and I personally went to the breakout rooms myself, and I felt very inspired at looking at a lot of people. You might not know each and every one of you guys, but then I was gladly happy to see. I was happy to see people collaborating with each other, talking about hangout spaces and all that. And so, thank you very much for everyone. So, the tutors also had given us wonderful insights as well. So, it's good to keep note that for the future time, it's very interesting. So, let's give each and all of us a big round of applause.
All right, so as Ms. Audrey requests, before we leave, we would like to once again invite all the participants here to turn on the camera for a closing photo session. Everyone, you can turn on your camera for a photo session. All right, so everyone please stand by because we are going from the first page first. I will count down. Everyone get ready in 3, 2, 1. All right, creative team will take the picture. And now moving on to the second page. Everyone, please be ready. Smile at the camera. We'll take the picture in 3, 2, 1. All right, thank you very much. Now moving on to page 3. Everyone, please smile at the camera. We're going to take the picture in 3, 2, 1. And to the last page. We're going to take the picture in 3, 2, 1. All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for attending today's workshop. And good luck
welcome
to
to
all.
Nanjing.
Yeah, good luck to all. Good luck to all the presenters for tomorrow's presentation. And before leaving the meeting room, I would like to request all of the participants here to please fill in the registration form in the chat box.
When we have a meeting for 10 minutes after that.
Okay, Dr. Lee.
For tomorrow.
before a lot of people leave, I would like to remind each and every one of you to fill in the form in the chat box below before you leave. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Maybe committee, can you create a breakout room for me, Dr. Lee and Mr. Hayashi-san, Sylvie and Alfred Rocha, so we can start discussing about tomorrow. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's only 10 minutes. Bear with us, our committee.
Okay, we will be making the breakout room soon, so don't worry, Mr. Wayne.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Can you help assign us? Okay, Miss Rocha, me, Miss Sylviana, Dr. Lee, and Mr. Hayashi-san. Thank you.
Once again, reminder to all participants before leaving the meeting room, please fill in the registration form in the chat box. And after that, you may leave. Thank you very much for attending today's workshop.
Alright, then we can leave, right?
Yeah. You may leave after filling out the registration form in the chat box. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's another suburban summer. The street lights blink on. If you're passing the house on the corner, you think